From stumbles and slips to bizarre gestures and surreal interruptions.
Is to restore democracy.
These clips prove that no amount of power can stop life from getting a little messy, especially when the cameras are rolling. Ceremonies like this are designed for perfection, flags aligned, timing exact. Then reality interrupts. Biden's fall at the Air Force Academy wasn't planned, scripted, or dramatic. It was simple and uncomfortable. What made it memorable wasn't the stumble itself, but how fast it spread. In modern politics, a few seconds can overshadow hours of speeches and years of experience. Trump dance. Official visits are usually rehearsed down to the handshake. That's why this Trump dance story stands out. One unexpected move flipped seriousness into awkward comedy. Supporters shrugged, critics laughed, and viewers stayed confused. Whether fact, mix-up, or exaggeration, the moment shows how fast power can slip into spectacle once cameras roll and the internet smells something unusual that won't fade quickly. First Lady.
With them and tried to put it all into my playing.
At a 1986 White House concert, Nancy Reagan took a spill that no etiquette manual could have prepared her for. Mid-performance, she ended up on the floor, and you just have to laugh. Even first ladies have moments when life literally throws you off your chair, reminding everyone that elegance isn't armor. It's perfectly human, perfectly awkward, and perfectly funny all at the same time. Diplomatic mic drop. Angela Merkel delivered an eye roll so iconic, the G20 summit nearly paused. Putin's mansplaining reached a new low, and Merkel's side-eye became the diplomatic version of a mic drop, leaving everyone watching silently as her expression said everything words couldn't. Handshake trouble. When Melania and Trump were going to meet the Polish president or first lady, an awkward moment happened. Trump reached out to shake hands with the first lady, but she ignored him and shook hands with Melania first. It's okay. Trump was used to such moments, and he met her later too, so no one should judge. Mask battle. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa faced a battle no one prepared him for. The face mask. Fumbling, tugging, and twisting it like it had a mind of its own, he turned a simple safety measure into a full-on comedy sketch. Honestly, watching a world leader wrestle with a mask was both relatable and hilarious. Proof that some battles are universal, no matter your status. Macron versus wife. Macron didn't even land properly before the rumors took off. A brief, awkward gesture on the plane stairs, his wife beside him, and boom! Social media turned it into a full scandal. Watching people analyze it felt funnier than the moment itself. Sometimes the real show isn't the leaders, it's the audience losing its mind. Unexpected fall. Former President Ford approached the airplane steps in 1975 with all the dignity expected of a commander-in-chief, but the stairs apparently had other plans. With a slip here and a stumble there, he ends up on the ground in a sequence that is part pratfall, part humanizing moment. Inked face. Chaos broke out at Georgia's Central Electoral Commission when opposition figure David Kirtadze hurled black paint at Commission Chief Georgi Kalandarishvili during a heated meeting. Furious over election results favoring the ruling party, Kirtadze's dramatic stunt only highlighted the opposition's desperation. In the end, the official results remained unchanged, and no one could rewrite the outcome. Handshake. Trump and Macron's handshake quickly escalated into a full tug-of-war. 17 seconds of intense grip, knuckles going white, and neither letting go. The crowd watched, unsure if it was diplomacy or a weird strength contest, proving that sometimes handshakes can become surprisingly dramatic in the world of world leaders. Elon's son. Kids can be cute, but this one treated President Trump like his little brother in front of the whole media, telling him, "Shush your mouth, you are not the president." Only someone like Elon's kid could do that. Some say kids just repeat what they hear. So yeah, who knows what goes on behind the scenes. Live imitation.
Honorable hong, hong, hong.
In the video, Willie is casually speaking when he suddenly switches into Naledi Pandor's accent and speaking style. He didn't just copy the accent, but also the way she pauses, her tone, and the calm but serious delivery. While this was meant to publicly humiliate her due to her authority, the entire incident became the most watched cabinet moment of all times. Epic kick. Uganda's Minister of Sports has made quite a few wrong decisions, but this one was the best. At a sports event, he thought of kicking a football. Everything seemed fine, but when he kicked it, he rolled on the floor like the football itself. It's okay though, just a funny moment, and he enjoyed it too. Unexpected slap. You know that moment during COVID when world leaders were avoiding handshakes like landmines? Macron still walked up to people, smiling, relaxed. Then out of nowhere, a man leaned forward and slapped him in public. Cameras caught it clean. Security jumped in, people froze, and viewers online replayed it again and again, asking the same question. How did no one see that coming? Gentle push. Trump steps into the NATO lineup and suddenly decides patience is optional, gently nudging past Montenegro's prime minister like he's late for a photo shoot. No speech, no pause, just pure confidence on autopilot. It felt less like international diplomacy and more like someone cutting in line at a buffet, convinced they belong at the front anyway. Public apology.
37% of teenage girls between 13 and 15 were exposed to unwanted nudity in a week on Instagram.
Call it a well-planned diplomatic move, or just behavior Mark Zuckerberg never expected. The Facebook founder was publicly forced to apologize by a U.S. senator right in front of the families of victims. And by victims, we mean parents whose children had been exposed to unwanted or harmful content on the platform. The moment left Zuckerberg visibly uncomfortable, and social media erupted.
I'm sorry for everything that you've all been through. No one should have to go through the things that your families have suffered. And this is why we invested so much and are going to continue doing industry-leading efforts to make sure that no one has to go through the types of things that your families have had to suffer.
Wide load. During the White House Halloween, a child appeared in a costume boldly labeled "wide load," and Trump couldn't hide a mix of surprise and curiosity. Melania struggled to suppress her laughter as cameras captured every moment. The kid stood confidently, waiting for candy, completely unaware that his outfit had just caused a presidential double-take, turning a simple trick-or-treat into viral comedy. Elite embarrassments.
Viewing a thing where thousands of people are
Awkward is the new term for diplomacy, and this video is a proof. This moment comes from a meeting between South African President Cyril Ramaphosa and former U.S. President Donald Trump. Trump was accusing Cyril for some not really good deeds when the African president decided to change the atmosphere by using humor.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
This line was just said to ease the tension and shift the tone, instead of further arguing with the accusation.
viewing a thing where thousands of people are
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I'd take it. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
No photo.
Man, you definitely got to put a
We do.
Biden couldn't do anything unusual in front of the press. He was just there for a group photo. Somehow, he slowly drifted away from it, looking completely lost. The strange part? He didn't even seem to realize he'd wandered off mid-shot. Awkward situation. Global summits are carefully staged, every move calculated, yet this moment slipped through. While leaders blended into groups, Boris Johnson remained on the outside watching. No gestures to join, no one stepping over. Just an awkward pause captured by cameras. It wasn't dramatic, but it was memorable. Sometimes embarrassment doesn't shout. Sometimes it just stands quietly while the world talks without you. Eerie laugh.
Необходимо, конечно, продлить срок действия договора.
Remember that clip where Zelensky laughed at the Minsk agreements? The room was tense, leaders serious, and he smirked like he was calling someone out. At the time, it felt bold, even funny. But now, with Putin firmly in control, that laughter seems different, almost ironic. The joke that once felt clever now echoes online as a reminder that timing can flip the punchline entirely.
И в конечном итоге придать этой норме постоянный характер.
Michael Fall. Political events are designed to look effortless, even when they aren't. That's why Michael Gove's fall stood out. It wasn't loud or dramatic, just unexpected, happening right in the middle of a routine appearance. The camera didn't flinch, and neither did the internet. Years later, the clip still circulates, not for shock, but for the quiet discomfort it captures. Shoe snap. You wouldn't believe this if you didn't see it. President William Ruto was giving a speech in Kahancha town about his new 298-unit affordable housing project when suddenly someone in the crowd hurled a shoe toward him. The crowd gasped, but Ruto didn't flinch. He stayed calm, continued speaking, and addressed the audience with the same energy, turning an awkward interruption into a moment that showed his composure under pressure. Awkward, no.
Can I speak Ukrainian?
No.
Okay.
Zelensky tried speaking Ukrainian, and the host immediately shut him down. Watching it, you can't help but shake your head. If even a president can't use his own language on live TV, it makes you wonder whose rules really run the show. Modi stupidity. PM Modi kept walking while Jana Gana Mana echoed around him, completely ignoring the music. A foreign official finally had to intervene, halting the prime minister in his tracks. You could almost hear someone muttering under their breath, "Sir, the anthem isn't a moving walkway." The whole scene was absurd. Putin casual moment.
Кажется, что не будут того-то и того-то не будут делать.
Putin is on another level. This guy casually called a European leader an idiot in a meeting like it was nothing. This awkward moment couldn't not go viral. And then people gave different comments. Some said Putin is very powerful. Others said he doesn't care about anyone.
Потому что это им вредит. Но делают же придурки. Вы извините, пожалуйста.
Awkward Modi.
President, you both spoke about combating ISIS. You both sounded very excited about this partnership upcoming. And I was curious, how much more confident are you with President Trump leading this country?
Narendra Modi is an Indian version of Joe Biden. No one understands this guy. He stays lost, never knowing what's happening when or where. Here too, he was asked a question, but he had no clue what to answer. Trump handled the situation. Otherwise, it could have gone much worse.
That's your question, but I'll answer it. I agree with you.
Teeth popped. While giving a speech, you shouldn't get so emotional that your dentures fall out, like what happened to the Korean leader. Next time, hopefully, he will be more careful. Awkward laugh. Former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern came to address reporters at an event, and something seemed strange. It was as if she wasn't fully in her senses. Sometimes awkward laughter, sometimes a smile, sometimes serious. Everything was mixed, and to this day, no one really knows exactly what was going on at that time.
You'll be right. You're probably out of shot over there.
Couple moment. It doesn't matter if you are the president of one of the world's most powerful countries or anything else, nothing works in front of your wife. Trump is probably one of these too. Poor guy tries so hard to enjoy the moment properly, but the same thing happens with him that usually happens with other husbands. Stage broke. In Somalia, a group of politicians stood confidently on a stage at a public event, probably thinking they were untouchable. A few minutes later, the stage collapsed, sending them tumbling like a badly rehearsed circus act. Honestly, watching them scramble and scramble to regain dignity was priceless. Proof that no amount of power or titles can save you when gravity decides to crash the party. Kick out. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Ardern, decided to make a dramatic statement during Iranian President Raisi's speech, waving a banner and standing out like a human exclamation mark. Security quickly escorted him out, and honestly, it looked like a mix of political theater and slapstick comedy. Sometimes, making a bold point in the world's most serious hall comes with a literal kick-out guarantee. Biden falls. As Biden climbed the Air Force One stairs, gravity clearly decided to audition for a cameo. One step went fine, the next step disagreed, and suddenly the stairs became the main character. Biden brushed it off and kept moving, because when you've run a country, a staircase-throwing attitude feels less like a problem and more like an unexpected reminder that even power can't negotiate with gravity. Mic drop.
And President Obama enjoying one last round with the press. From the First Lady to Donald Trump, everyone was fair game last night. Here's ABC's Nick Watt.
Obama wrapped up the correspondents' dinner after playfully roasting everyone in the room, paused for half a second, smiled like he'd just told the final joke of the night, and casually dropped the mic. No announcement, no extra words, just a quiet exit that felt perfectly timed, leaving the crowd laughing and the moment locked in pop culture memory. Forgetting wife.
But I just want to thank everybody, the first responders. On behalf of myself, our Vice President, Melania really wanted to be with us. It's really touched her heart what's gone on, and we've seen the devastation.
Trump starts speaking with full confidence, completely absorbed in his words. And for a second, it's as if Melania has vanished from the scene. She's right there, patiently listening, giving him just enough of a glance to say, "Yes, you're amazing. But I exist too." The audience can't help but smile at the subtle comedy of a president momentarily forgetting his wife was actually standing next to him. Lost Joe.
Joe Biden's press secretary tonight is explaining a mistake the president made during a press conference today, saying that the president planned to welcome the family of the late Indiana Representative Jackie Walorski to the White House, but the president instead said this.
Biden strides up to the podium, ready to thank lawmakers who worked on the hunger initiative, then suddenly scans the room and calls out, "Where's Jackie?"
"Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie?"
Like he's misplaced his phone. The audience blinked because, sadly, Representative Jackie Walorski had passed away in a car accident weeks earlier, but Biden being Biden.
And I want to thank all of you here for including bipartisan elected officials like Representative Gove, Senator Braun, Senator Booker, Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Joe sleeping. During Jimmy Carter's funeral, Biden's head dips, and suddenly everyone's watching. Is he reflecting on decades of politics, or just taking the tiniest, sneakiest nap? Honestly, probably both. Mixing moments.
I want to talk just for a second. I wrote this out, and it's very close to my heart because I was down there, and I watch our police and our firemen down on 7-Eleven, down at the World Trade Center right after it came down, and I saw the greatest people I've ever seen in action.
Trump's 9/11/7/11 confusion is the kind of moment that lands in political blooper reels forever. One second he mentions the World Trade Center, the next he's talking about a Slurpee aisle. Seeing him mix a national tragedy with a convenience store in one sentence was absurd and awkward. Reobart Fall. After giving a speech to supporters in Harare, Zimbabwe's President Robert Mugabe walked down a set of steps and suddenly lost his balance. He tumbled down several steps, flailing like a bouncy cartoon character, but somehow popped back up on his feet as if nothing happened. First press conference. For the first time ever, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un spoke directly to a foreign journalist. During the second summit with President Trump, Kim surprised everyone by taking a question from a U.S. reporter. Cameras captured him listening carefully, pausing, and responding thoughtfully, turning a tiny Q&A moment into global headlines.
And let me assure you that I will do all my best to bring a good result ultimately today. Thank you.
Leaders gone awkward.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and his French counterpart have been caught on camera allegedly gossiping about President Donald Trump at a reception at Buckingham Palace.
Trudeau and friends were caught laughing behind Trump's back at NATO, turning a serious summit into a comedy show. Imagine the boss overhearing you roasting him. Awkward. A classic oops caught on mic moment where diplomacy collides perfectly with office gossip. Obama caught.
This is video of the President of the United States calling Kanye West a jackass after Kanye West went out the other day during the MTV Awards and decided that he should be the guy who decides who wins an award over Beyonce.
Obama thought the mic was off and casually called Kanye a jackass after his Taylor Swift stage crash. One second he's president, the next he's trending worldwide for saying what everyone was secretly thinking. The moment perfectly captured the mix of authority, honesty, and hilarious timing.
The young lady seems like a perfectly nice person. She's getting her award. What's he doing?
Why would he do that?
He's a jackass.
Awkward movement.
Yes, the economic horse pulls the social cart.
Canada's Deputy PM Chrystia Freeland looked completely out of it during a press conference, with erratic body movements and bizarre facial expressions. Watching her, it was hard to tell if she was delivering policy updates or auditioning for a very confusing dance performance. Either way, the audience couldn't stop staring.
Work together to improve things.
Lost Trump. This has to be Trump's most awkward moment when he met the Japanese Prime Minister. Trump is confused, saluting when he didn't need to, and had to be shown the correct way to walk by the PM of Japan. Sometimes he even left the PM behind and walked ahead. Does he even know where he is? He's never been this lost before. Johnson's umbrella. Throwback to the time Boris Johnson had a full-on battle with an umbrella. It was a rainy memorial service, and Boris tried to open his umbrella like a normal human. But no, the umbrella had other plans. At first, it refused to open, and when it finally did, a gust of wind turned it completely inside out. Meanwhile, Prince Charles and everyone around him were trying not to laugh. The struggle was real, chaotic, and utterly relatable, but everyone else loved it. Royal mistake.
Vitality of the special relationship.
Barack Obama had one of those classic awkward moments during a banquet at Buckingham Palace. He was in the middle of proposing a toast to the Queen when the orchestra suddenly started playing God Save the Queen. Instead of pausing, Obama carried on with his speech, completely breaking royal protocol. When he finally raised his glass to the monarch, it was clear someone had noticed the slip. The Queen, ever composed, didn't seem offended, but couldn't hide a small, embarrassed smile. Overdressed Queen.
The garter robe is so extraordinary. What do you think this is?
This has to be one of the most intense and interesting debates between a reporter and the Queen. She was all dressed up for a photo shoot when suddenly, one reporter couldn't handle it and was blunt enough to say so out loud.
We'll look better, less dressy, because the garter robe is so extraordinary.
That seemed to trigger the Queen. She walked out of the room, clearly blaming the photographer, leaving everyone stunned by the unexpected confrontation. Caught red-handed. The video captures Kamala Harris in the middle of a phone call. She appeared to be talking to a voter who appreciated her work, and they seemed to be having a really good conversation. But there was one problem. She wasn't actually on the phone. When she rotated her phone to show the people, it revealed the camera app, not a call. So, was it really some mix-up, or did we just caught her red-handed?
Thank you so very much. You know, it's so important.
Mike versus Trump.
Mr. President, obviously you're...
We can say whatever we want, but Trump has got some real guts for public dealing. I mean, watch how he didn't even react when they reported, though accidentally, but smacked him with Mick.
Mr. President, obviously you're...
And camera captured the moment Trump was trying to understand what really happened. Mid-speech fall. Health comes first, but this deputy president had to learn it the hard way. In the middle of a public speech, he suddenly started speaking what sounded like gibberish, and in a split second, collapsed to the ground. One of his party members rushed to help, and he was quickly escorted out for his safety. Weird gestures.
Ce service poursuit trois objectifs.
Nothing goes unnoticed when the cameras are rolling. Not even a soldier's ridiculous movements, while his country's president is delivering a speech.
Renforcer la capacité de résistance de notre nation.
During Macron's speech, a soldier suddenly steps back from his position, looking completely troubled right in front of the cameras. This wasn't usual, which sparked curiosity. Was the soldier even listening? Biden's humor. During a visit to Israel, he was surrounded by officials, media personalities, and, of course, the press. But despite all the attention, he had this never-ending urge to ask himself, what am I doing now? And honestly, that was all it took to crack people up. Trudeau's admirer. Nothing can be done when the public decides to take matters into their own hands. Like in this moment, when a local told the Canadian Prime Minister to leave the premises. At first, he thought it was just someone coming to admire his work, so he shook her hand. But then came words from her mouth that left him completely stunned.
Mr. Prime Minister, please get out of BC.
Some lessons, it seems, can only be learned the hard way. And maybe, just maybe, some prime ministers really do need to maintain a bit of distance. Horse race. This time, it was Ed Davey, the Liberal Democrats leader, who decided to hop on a stick horse and, well, do something nobody expected. He jumped over all the hurdles like a 9-year-old at a school sports day. While people around him cheered, you could clearly see from their faces that they were judging every move. No wonder he never won. Hilarious or utterly disappointing? I'll leave that up to you to decide. Disheveled minister. Senate watchers were left stunned during this vote. Bernie Sanders appeared exhausted and under the weather as he entered the chamber, quietly making his way to cast a vote that went against someone who had supported him for years.
Mr. Sanders.
We all know social media spares no one, and Bernie was no exception. The vote, his appearance, and the whole awkward energy became fodder for endless commentary, making the scene impossible to ignore. confused Biden. So this video is all about the awkward moments of Biden from the D-Day. Let me start with the clip that has gone viral and gained millions of views on social media. In this moment, President Biden is standing alongside First Lady Jill Biden, the French Prime Minister, and the French First Lady during the ceremony. Midway through the event, President Biden appeared to let his intrusive thoughts win and attempted to sit down. However, instead of fully sitting, he ended up in an awkward position, half standing and half crouching, making him appear uncomfortable. At the same time, the First Lady could be seen quietly murmuring something while appearing visibly embarrassed. A few moments later, she was seen escorting President Biden away from the ceremony, holding his hand as they walked off. What made this moment awkward was that the French Prime Minister stayed at the ceremony and continued meeting veterans, which made Biden's exit stand out even more. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. All eyes were on the Haitian president during his UN speech, yet in a blink, his water jug betrayed him. A simple sip turned into a messy splash, caught by cameras and replayed endlessly. It was minor, but the moment humanized him instantly before the world.